Hey, it's Lindsay Gramont, and I can remember back when I was first growing with Young Living. And today I want to share with you the steps that I took to achieve silver. The rank of silver was a pretty defining moment for me because it was the level of income that I needed to make to really feel confident that I could do this business. But every single thing that I was doing was happening so quickly that I don't think I even had time to think about a lot of the things that we are discussing through all of our awesome personal development and training that we're doing right now because it was moving so quickly. But key thing that I want to state is that that was the mindset. I didn't have time to focus on all of the things that were not in my control. And so when I really think of the steps that I took to get to silver, and even the same steps that I take right now, even though I am a Royal Crown Diamond, is really mindset. Okay. It's so important to understand that your mindset is everything. And you have to focus on the things that you can control because you can't control when someone is going to enroll, right? That's up to them. The only thing that you can control are your behaviors every single day. And when you're focused on that, when you're busy with actually the things that you can control, knowing that in the future you have this goal, right? But knowing that you can't control when you hit that goal, if you continue to focus on this big goal at the end of the road, then you're going to kind of forget about the daily things that you need to do. And you might get down on yourself. You might start comparing yourself with others. You might do all those things that really cause your brain to start to churn and will not allow you to make the things that need to happen today happen. So I always continue to share that little by little, a little becomes a lot. And in the very beginning of my business, I was doing the things that I could control because I didn't know about anything else, right? And so I knew that I loved sharing stories. I loved telling people what I was doing, and I loved seeing their comments, and I loved engaging with them. So even if back then, I was running a pretty large group, but I started to be able to identify and pay attention to certain people in the group. And that is the next step that I think is critically important. So the first one was focusing on things that I could control, my daily behaviors. We talked about that last week. The second thing is building relationships. So whether you are in a group of some kind online, a virtual group, whether it's GroupMe or texting with people or, Instagram or whatever, right? Think of it like a group where you're building relationships, in-person relationships. The whole point of this business is relationships because in the end, I learned that I was selling not just our amazing oils, but me, right? I was selling myself because people had to trust me enough to feel like they knew that they were going to be well taken care of and, just wanted to be able to do this with me and learn from me. And so I didn't have to necessarily be the expert because I wasn't. I told people very clearly that I was new and I was just learning stuff, but they had to understand that my intentions were good and that my mission was sound. And my mission has always been to help as many moms as possible to know how to heal their own families and to gain back information and knowledge that we once had that has been lost, right, about natural healing. And the best way to do that is in community. And I would communicate that mission over and over and over again because that is my mission. You might have a different mission, but whatever it is, you need to be able to communicate that over and over and over again to people so that they understand what they're getting themselves into and what they're buying into. For me, it was about, hey, we're a community of moms. We're going to empower you to learn how to heal your families. And so they were buying into that mission. And I still think that that is exactly what we do here today. And all of you are here for that reason, to be a part of that community, a part of that learning. We can all learn together. We don't all have to know everything. But how amazing is it if we can learn from each other? So that was super important for me to understand, and being able to identify people and really get to know them and build those relationships. So those are things that I can control. I can control how many relationships I can focus on, how many connections I can make every single day. And the more connections that I make in a day, the more amazing things happen in my business. It could just be reaching out to someone, texting someone to connect, messaging them to connect with them. And ultimately, I'm always trying to understand if I can identify a problem and if I can help someone find the solution to their problem. So I'm constantly connecting with people to answer those two questions, to understand what issues they're dealing with and how I can possibly help them to find a solution to their issues. That is something that I can control. Now, I can't control if they decide that the solutions that I've suggested or pointed them to are going to be their solutions, but I can provide them with information. That is something that I can control. Another step, the last one that I'll focus on here, because I want to keep this short for your morning motivation, is to go in with the mindset that this is what I'm doing, right? This has always been my mindset. From back then until now, I never envisioned that I would be doing this to figure out if it was the right thing or whatever. I mean, I kind of knew that I needed a certain amount of income to be able to quit my corporate job. So I had that in mind. But again, I couldn't control how quickly that money would come. But what I could control is that I wasn't going to quit. And that is the last major step, mindset step that I think is critically important, is to never quit. Because if you're never going to quit, then you can't lose, because you will always win. Knowing that you will be trying different things, doing different things, and not all of them will yield the results that you expect or wanted, but that you can continue to try different things and find out what works for you, because you're going to hear a lot of different people like me telling you exactly what to do, and you're going to have to figure out what works for you. But the only way to do that is with the mindset of, I'm not ever quitting. Because if you quit, then you lose, right? I mean, ultimately, the only way that we can lose in this business and lose at life is if we quit. So those are the three kind of main mindset things that I know that I took to achieve silver, and all of the other stuff that kind of surrounds these three things are just semantics, right? Like how organized I am, how I manage my time, how I learned how to post pictures or whatever. All of that is just an overlay on these three main things, because ultimately our goal is to help people understand the value of oils and to help them simply get started and to help them understand how easy it is to share, right? And so all of that really hinges on these three mindset things that I talked about today, to focus on the daily behaviors that you can control, to build relationships and focus on the parts of those relationships that you can control and connecting with as many people as possible, because you're building that trust in you, okay? And then don't quit, right? Right? I mean, everything else is just busy work, right? On top of all of that, things that we busy our brain with, that is because we aren't focused on what we can control. When we're constantly worried about what other people are doing, what might be the magic formula, or what could be, or what would be, or should have been, right? Then we aren't focusing on the things that we can control, which is our daily behaviors, how many people we connect with, how we build relationships, how we share stories, how we find problems and solve them. There are lots of ways to do that, and I could, share all of those things, but that's something that you've got to figure out. For me, what worked the best was social media, but you know what? That was in the beginning. Now what works for best for me now is building local relationships and teaching local classes. So it changes and shifts over time. So there's no one magic formula, but I will say those three things are important, those three mindset shifts. So hope that helped you today and that you'll share this far and wide. And I hope that you have a wonderful day focusing on what you can control in your daily behaviors and knowing that you aren't going to quit. Have a great day. Bye-bye.